How has property management evolved most since those early days, would you say?
Technology has transformed everything. Gone from paper files and spreadsheets to like real-time data and smart building technology that's changing everything and telling us things that we never knew. With AI entering the picture, things are changing even yet again. Despite all of that, the core of the business, it's still actually about the people though. So it's the relationships, the trust, the service. Technology has made us more efficient and more insightful, but at the end of the day, property management is still a human business.
What personal qualities do you think have played the biggest role in your success?
I think first and foremost is the entrepreneurial mindset. Started with my family. My brothers actually bought the company from my father in the early 2000s, and they have worked incredibly hard and made incredibly great decisions and grew the company in an amazing way. I think showing the value of taking initiative and solving problems and thinking about more long-term decisions. So as you're playing chess, not checkers. My success has really come down to that curiosity, adaptability, and the empathy that I have.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jared Sarvit, and this is Mastering Property Management. Today, I have the honor and privilege of having Jesse Buhler on, Senior Director of Property Management at GWL Realty Advisors. Jesse, thanks so much for joining me today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Truly my pleasure. Let's get right into it. Jesse, first of all, tell me a little bit about who GWL is.
GWL, we're a leading Canadian real estate investment and management firm. We're wholly owned by Canada Life, the insurance company. We manage and develop a diverse portfolio of office, industrial, retail, and multi-res across Canada for institutional investors and pension funds.
Great. Awesome. And let's get into a little bit about yourself, Jesse. You've built a dynamic career spanning Colliers, Artis REIT, and now GWL Realty Advisors, and many other positions along the way. Can you walk us through the journey that led you to your current leadership role? And go back, because you've told me a little bit before, go back to Manitoba, if you don't mind.
Of course. Yeah, I am the son of an entrepreneur. I came from an entrepreneurial family. My dad was a farmer, and we had a farm. My dad also owned a farm equipment dealership while we were farmers, and he was really successful at that. But in the early 80s, he bought a construction company for out of receivership, and we moved into the city, and we were no longer farm kids, we were city kids. And but watching how he grew that taught me the value of hard work and resilience, humility. I learned how to run a business over a kitchen table. He always made it really clear to me and instilled in me that there's no work below you, no matter what your title is. And that mindset has really shaped how I work and how I lead now. I actually started my career in residential, my property management career actually in residential in Vancouver. I was able to work for some just unbelievably great humans that I'm still in contact with today, and their leadership and their lessons have stuck with me. Residential was a foundation of where I started. And honestly, those lessons I take today through commercial, it's that foundation of how I started. I guess before residential, I was actually a bartender and a server, something that you and I have in common, a wide range of restaurants and nightclubs. But that experience gave me, again, a really strong foundation of customer service. So learning how to thrive in the super fast-paced environments, how to read people and build relationships. Those lessons have followed me through my career. Jumping back to real estate, as I moved over to Colliers, which gave me kind of that next level of discipline that gave me the opportunity to get into the commercial world, managing clients, solving problems quickly, and understanding how execution really actually drives that trust. Because that Colliers is a true third party manager. From there, I moved over to Artis REIT. Artis REIT was my client when I was at Colliers. That's where I learned again what ownership and asset management that side of stuff, started to really appreciate that a lot more. And now GWL. So kind of drawing on all the experience from construction, entrepreneurship, the service mindset from hospitality, the ownership perspective from artists. So that's where that's kind of all, I guess, culminated into where I am now.
Amazing. I love that story. And ownership from your father too. You can't take that away. I mean, you being raised by an entrepreneur, I think there's so many lessons, just seeing, I imagine just your dad in action, working every day and wearing multiple hats, and probably very inconsistent schedule. Those are things that must have really stuck with you, I imagine, growing up. Yeah, very cool. Tell me a little bit about going from residential to commercial. We were actually at a conference the other day, and a young lady who is like thinking about getting into the industry had no idea really if she wanted to go residential or commercial, what that even meant. But she had interest in property management because I think she was an administrator at one point somewhere. What are the differences, would you say? Would you recommend one over the other? Obviously, you're in commercial, so yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
I'm going to say something that's probably not all that popular with commercial property managers, but residential property managers have a harder job. And they're likely, my experience there made me a very tough person. Some hard lessons, but really valuable lessons. Simon Sinek has many different talks, but one of his concepts is, are you speaking with is it an emotional conversation or a logical conversation? I find there's a lot more logical conversations. If there's a flood in the space, and you have to leave, and they have to pick up their stuff and go, they can go home. They have business interruption insurance. It sucks. It is not great. But their business will move forward, and they, especially in this day and age, they can likely work from home, or maybe go to a different office, or rent another space for a period of time between now and when their space becomes livable again. In a residential world, so that is a logical conversation. In the residential world, it's emotional, and this is where I put my stuff. This is where I put my head. This is where I lay down. This is where I play with my kids. And if that gets flooded, no matter you can go to a hotel, but that's not my home. And that's that. So speaking to an emotional conversation and speaking to a logical conversation, I've found that it really takes skill to be able to speak to an emotional conversation and really try to get through to them, but really being empathetic. That was some really great lessons I learned in residential.
Fantastic. Very good answer. If you can give me just 30 seconds of your time. First off, thank you for tuning in to the Mastering Property Management podcast. We truly appreciate you spending your time with us. This show is proudly sponsored by Picture Perfect Cleaning, where we believe in creating spaces that smile. If you're enjoying the insights here, I'd love for you to dive in a little deeper. We've put together a blog called 8 Common Themes in Property Management Leadership. It's packed with lessons we've gathered from top leaders in the industry. The link is included in the show notes for this episode. And while you're there, feel free to browse our website. See how Picture Perfect Cleaning supports property managers like you every day. Thanks again for listening. And now let's get back to the show. Looking back, you kind of already touched on some of it actually already. Some of the lessons you learned from your father and along the way. But what personal qualities do you think you have played the biggest role in your success?
You nailed it. I think first and foremost was the entrepreneurial mindset. Started with my family. My brothers actually bought the company from my father in the early 2000s. And they have worked incredibly hard and made incredibly great decisions and grew the company in an amazing way. ways that I think my father and many people didn't think it could ever grow. They are incredibly smart and incredibly talented humans. So um, I've learned a lot from them. I learned a lot from my dad. I think showing it just the value of taking initiative and solving problems and thinking about more long-term decisions. So as you're playing chess, not checkers. It's really made, I don't know, over time, I really made that mindset kind of my own a bit. Tried to approach my work, no matter whom I'm working for, is if I owned this company, how would I spend this money or would I make this decision? I think from hospitality, a lot of the customer service, I know you and I have shared, we've both worked in the hospitality world, and it's really fast paced. And so making quick decisions, informed decisions, and and just accepting the decisions that we make is really important. Um, Later on in life, only a couple of years ago, um, I got diagnosed after my son got diagnosed with ADHD. I went in and his pediatrician encouraged me to go talk to my doctor, and I was diagnosed with ADHD, which looking back explained so much. Um, and it is a two sides of a coin. So the ability to task switch, juggle multiple things, it's been a blessing, but it's also been a curse. It's helped me handle like a lot of complex, fast-paced environments, but my ability to slow down and execute. Sometimes that's that area where I've tried to draw on my hospitality experience a lot more to understand the outcome of that sort of stuff. So end of the day, I think my success has really come down to that curiosity, adaptability, and the empathy that I have.
Amazing. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's amazing how, all your experience have, come together to form where you are today. And I think that, often people in the moment don't realize that how much of a learning lesson, like maybe they're working at a restaurant being like, I can't wait to get out of this career or whatever. But I mean, there's so many lessons there, and that just goes to show everything you do, like learn as much as
Yes,
possible, whatever it
definitely.
is, whatever you're
Definitely.
doing, to learn, because then you could become Jesse Buhler one day, and yeah, it's really neat how that happens. Awesome. Now, kind of into the industry, you started in the industry, I believe, nearly 2 decades ago. How has property management evolved most since those early days, would you say?
Yeah, makes me feel old, but that's okay. Yeah. It's pretty wild how much it's changed. When I started in residential, I used a fax machine literally every day. We had email, and I mean, I had a very old school boss who was amazing and taught me a ton, but communication was slower. Data was scattered. Decisions were made based on kind of a little bit more on the experience side and gut instinct. And now fast forward to today, it's completely different. Technology, it's transformed everything. How we manage buildings, how we engage with tenants, how we talk to each other, gone from paper files and spreadsheets to like real-time data dashboards that like digital work order systems, smart building technology that's changing everything and telling us things that we never knew minute by minute and second by second. With AI entering the picture, things are changing even yet again. So the ability to analyze patterns that would have taken us months is taking us minutes. Predictive maintenance. It's making informed decisions quicker, which is amazing. Um, Despite all of that, I think the core of the business, it's still actually about the people though. So it's the relationships, the trust, the service. Technology has made us more efficient and more insightful, but at the end of the day, property management is still a human business. So technology makes us do it quicker and better, but at the end of the day, it's still a human business.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I hope it's always the case with all these robots coming in, and yeah, I just don't see the human touch ever going away in property
I
management.
think I totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, very good. You've managed assets across different sectors from office to industrial and retail. What are some of the biggest differences in managing each, and which do you find most challenging or rewarding?
Yeah, I have worked across multiple different, and including residential in there, a whole bunch of different asset classes, different asset types. They all kind of come with their own rhythm and challenges and rewards. Industrial is kind of more of a straightforward day to day. They're often long-term tenants. They've invested a ton of money into what they're doing inside, or no money at all, so they can move right away. So it's this kind of the two ends of that same story, which is kind of crazy. The retail side, it's more people focused. It's not necessarily people that run the businesses, but they want us to help ensure that the people that are coming to their business are taken care of. Office, I would probably say for me personally, office is probably the most challenging, but also the most rewarding. So again, two sides of that same coin. They're like living, breathing communities. You're managing everything from like the day-to-day maintenance and tenant engagement stuff to strategic positioning of an asset that's in a market that's changing day by day, especially now with hybrid work. It reshapes the demand of what office is. So we really need to be creative and collaborate with tenants and collaborate with each other on how to make the spaces like vibrant and kind of relevant again. And that's something that I think at GWL we've done really, really well at, especially in Calgary. We've brought in a whole bunch of amenities, a whole bunch of different things that it's amazing.
Wow. What do you mind sharing? What are some of the amenities that people are most enjoying and taking part in?
Yeah, I think the most recent one that we've done, it it's the tenant lounge. It's the space to sit and have lunch that's not at my desk. And it can't be just like a two-person table beside a cafe. It's that area that they can go and relax a little bit, and they can either put on headphones and watch their phone, or we have TVs up on the wall, or we have a PS5, we have virtual reality, we have little arcade games. So we've been able to do that in different stages at different buildings. So some are only for tenants and some are publicly accessible, but they're not, they're a little bit hidden away, just enough that the tenants know, but the public doesn't. Also finding the gyms are really well used. Our conference centers, I tried to book a conference center in November at one of our own properties for an internal meeting, and it's already booked. So it's amazing how much these things are getting used to.
Fantastic. I love hearing that. That's really good. GWL Realty Advisors have a reputation for excellence and long-term thinking. How would you describe the company's approach to property management and client relationships? You've kind of touched on it just right now with the tenant spaces, but what else?
It's about creating value. So the property management, it approaches the approach kind of blends the operational excellence and sustainability, which is really important to a lot of our clients right now, is the long-term effects that we're putting on the planet. So making buildings efficient and safe and environmentally responsible. I think that's something that we do really, really well. When it comes to clients, it's about just trust and partnership. So listening, responding quickly, anticipating the needs before they arise, and then just the commitment to their people and to our planet.
Great. Excellent. And your background, as you mentioned, includes construction, project management, a little bit of farming, perhaps. How does that technical foundation influence your property management decisions?
Yeah, I moved off the farm when I think I was 2.
Okay. Okay.
Still wanted to be a cowboy when I grew up, but it's that, again, that entrepreneurial mindset. Construction background, it really helped me understand how things were put together. And not just in the physical world, but I've been able to look through on the process side of things as well, is that There's a lot of steps in any process that we're doing. So the perspective helps me kind of identify issues early, and then try and make smarter and more integrated decisions, and ask better questions to my leaders, and then also to those that are on my team. I actually went to school for marketing. That's what my formal education is in. So even a marketing experience, so pushing that marketing and the construction together, it also comes down to that communication. It's not just trying to put a process in and say, go do this because I'm your boss. It's explaining the parts, why they are what they are, asking the team, hey, do you think this is going to work? So it's that marketing piece is almost the sales job as well. It's not about what I'm saying, it's about what my audience is hearing. So it's important for me to speak their language, and try and translate kind of what I know on the construction side or the process side, and in a way that they're going to understand, because they're not going to do what I want them to do or what we need to do if they don't understand in their own thoughts.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, that's interesting. So the marketing is a huge component of your success in the communication and all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool. I love that. I love that. In your view, what are the top trends or innovations shaping the future of property management in Canada right now? Again, you did touch on technological sides, but yeah, maybe go deeper into it.
I'll pick on one. It's AI. It's a game changer. I think the thing here, and kind of going back to that sales pitch, is like it's scary, but it's not coming. It's here. So like predictive maintenance, smart building automation, the tenant experience platforms that are really in putting it in. AI is helping us identify issues way quicker. On the sustainability side, it's optimizing energy use. But I think all in all, on any of those topics, it's giving us data, or taking the data that we already have and being able to analyze it and help us make better decisions way quicker.
Can you give an example of that? Is there any specific data that you found useful, that is like maybe you didn't have access to before, or it wasn't as easily accessible, that's really helping today?
Yeah, honestly, it's where it comes to is, I'll give like sustainability. Our building systems, we've deployed some different evaluation pieces on our automation programs, where we can look at how long is this piece of equipment running, and should it be running for that long, and if we reduce it by 15 minutes, are we going to get tenant complaints because it's too cold or too hot, or it's not operating, it's not producing what it's supposed to produce? And if the answer is no, well, that 15 minutes saved us $1 in electricity or $2 in electricity, and extended the life cycle of this piece of equipment by 10 minutes. Okay. But if we do it every day, and that means that if it's $500 a day or $1,000 a day, well, that's huge. And if the piece of equipment is supposed to last for 20,000 hours, we just made it run on a year-by-year basis, 100 hours less. So we're expanding. So again, it's that asset mindset of, we don't have to spend money on this equipment as much. We don't have to maintain it as much. Our electricity bills are going to go down. Our GHG is going to reduce. Our greenhouse gas production is going to reduce. So using all of those things isn't just one piece, is that it hits a sustainability goal. Our tenants are happier because our operating costs can lower down. Our asset managers, portfolio managers, and clients, really the building owners, are going to get way happier because we're not replacing equipment as quickly, so they can deploy their money somewhere else. So taking that data, and before it was difficult to aggregate the data, analyze it, and understand, put it into something that's actually cohesive for someone who isn't an absolute brilliant human mind to understand that. And often those people can't speak to the people who are making the decision. So it gives that ability to translate it into, like, when I said, like, speaking to your audience, it gives the ability to really take the big data and speak to the audience that are making the decisions.
Oh, it's brilliant. The true meat and potatoes of the business. Farm pun intended there, but yeah, no, that's a brilliant answer, and I think a lot of people listening would get so much value from that. So, Jesse, beyond your leadership role at GWL Realty, you're also the chair of the BOMA Calgary Foundation. Can you please share what that foundation mission is and what drew you to get involved?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Something that is near and dear to my heart. The BOMA Calgary Foundation, we're actually a registered charity in Canada, so we're under the Societies Act. Our purpose is to remove barriers to education, and to remove barriers to people in our industry and looking to come into our industry, removing barriers to bettering themselves. So the funds that we provide, so we raise funds from our industry and they go back into our industry. So it's we directly try and, we're using the money as smart as we possibly can. And we feel that investing in the people is the biggest piece. So, there's a lot of scholarships and bursaries that are scholastically based, and how we designed our funding is that, it's not scholastically based. If you get an A+, it doesn't matter about your grades. We're more based on need. We want to ensure that those that need things in our industry are getting what they need. And a lot of times it just comes down to money. Money for education, to remove stress. Like, hey, I don't have time. I'm working 2 jobs. And I just can't study to get this designation so that I can move up. Hey, we'll give you some money to be able to have a babysitter. I know it's weird, but like that, the mindset, at least, that is that ask for anything and the worst we can say is no. But like, our foundation is, the team that runs that foundation is absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Are you one of the founders of it?
I am not.
No, okay. For some reason I thought you were.
Of it. The team that started, Guy Priddle, some of the early people on that is Guy Priddle, Chris Howard in our industry, Rita. It's a really, really strong history, and the legacy is amazing. But no, I am not one of the founders of it.
Okay, for some reason I thought you were a bit. Okay, my apologies. And who's applying for these scholarships? Yeah, who reaches out? Who finds you? Or do you often reach out to them? Do you find the people? What does that look like?
There's push and pull. Back to the marketing side. We definitely, we rely on the BOMA community, to push out when the applications are opened. We definitely rely on a strong BOMA relationship and that community to push out. We have a great website. We redid it a couple years ago. And we try to get inbound traffic as well. But, largely what we do is it's our board members, and it's just this word of mouth, and we push out emails as hard as we can right now. And it's something that, Kai Hockhausen and I, who's the vice chair on that committee, or on the board, we were talking about how can we start to reach more people. And it's probably one of our challenges right now, but it's something that we're really looking to tackle.
Fantastic. What are some of the initiatives that you were most proud of during your time as chair?
Probably the biggest one, and again, I didn't do this on my own. There's some longstanding people on that board that were critical and integral to this being successful. Tanya Beefus is one of them, like such a strong contributor. Before I joined the board, the way that we distributed funds was through other entities. So MRU, we gave money to MRU, and then they gave that to students, and we asked for it to be, they asked to be targeted, but we kind of gave that money. We gave it to Women's Shelter, some really deserving groups. But when I became, as I became chair, or right after, or right before, we developed our own process to give money away ourselves. So it goes directly from our bank account into the bank accounts of those that are in our industry that need it. It doesn't go via MRU or through Women's Shelter or through SATE or through somewhere else. We have a very rigorous process that we go through, an application process. It's now digital, and it gets better every single year with some frequently asked questions, thanks to John Maynard, and trying to get the application process more streamlined, straightforward, and easier so that we can get more applicants. We are getting applicants from anywhere from property administrators to university students to building operators. But yeah, that's how we do it.
Awesome. And just make sure that we give a full plug here, but where can people find it? Can they just Google Calgary Bowman Foundation?
Calgary Bowman Foundation, yeah, and they will. It's our website will be right up at the top, and at the top it'll have applications. So when it's the next round of applications is open right now. Or it's opening in November. So, and if there's any questions, by all means, there's a contact us page on there as well. Sending questions, but again, it's how this program has evolved. That it's become pretty straightforward. But again, reach out whenever they have questions.
Awesome. And when this is released, it's probably already out, maybe in full swing. But yeah, awesome. Thank you. When you think about developing talent, especially among the young emerging leaders, in property management, what skills or mindsets do you emphasize most?
There's a couple. I think one of the big ones is advocate for yourself. Early on in my career, I thought, but I sucked at it. I thought, hey, again, coming from an entrepreneurial background, was just work your tail off and people will recognize hard work. And sometimes that works, but not often. As you get into larger corporate groups, I think it comes with kind of three big things. Communicate clearly. So talk to your leader, talk to your manager, tell them what you want. Be respectful about it, understand how to speak to that audience, but none of us are mind readers. Leaders I really appreciate as a leader when someone comes in and says, hey, I want to be here. Because the thing is, then good leaders will turn around and say, let's give you experience to get there. Let's give you some, hey, have you tried this training? Have you done this? Or an opportunity pops up and you're like, oh, this person was really interested in it. They're not qualified, but can you just bring them along for the ride? Second one is show, don't tell. If you say you want more responsibility, back it up by taking initiative and where you are right now. So as a property administrator, put up your hand and volunteer for projects. Go do it. Ask for feedback on that, showing that kind of how you can handle more. And then I think the third one is probably build relationships. So it's career growth isn't just having a great relationship with your boss. It's about connecting with people all across the organization. In my world is I can be the best property manager, but my operations, but my viewpoint is only here is if I get to know our leasing manager or our VP of leasing, our VP of asset, our VP of development, turning around and then starting to appreciate, I can do this great, but if I do this one extra step, it makes the leasing manager's job so much easier. And then it is a big ecosystem, and understanding all the players. Go get to know people outside your group.
Awesome. That's such good advice. I live by a lot of that, actually. So it really resonated with me. I remember when I was about 20 years old at the restaurant that you and I both worked at, I was in the kitchen, and no one ever moves from the kitchen to the front of house, at this restaurant, unheard of. But I really wanted to. And so I sat the kitchen manager down and I said, listen, I want a future in this industry at the time. This is 20 years old. And I don't see myself just being in the kitchen. I want to be your partner in the restaurant as a whole. For me to do that, I need to move to the front and see everything. And just communicating that vision to him, he couldn't he couldn't say no. So within a week, I was now up front, getting into management very quickly. And all the kitchen guys who have been there for years were like, "That's not fair," but communicating that vision is so important to your leaders. So I love that. I love that advice.
That's
And then
awesome.
like you said, wearing the shoes today of the shoes you want to be in, the shoes you want to fill. Don't wait until you're there. Start doing it now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
thank you for that, Jesse. Yeah.
an old executive coach told me, he said, you don't get the corner office in the Mercedes without first showing that you've earned it. And I think that's probably the advice to talent that's coming up is that, in really good cultures, you'll get what you earn. But first show that you can do the job before you expect to get the job.
Exactly. Make it very easy for your leadership to make that decision. It'd be so natural to put you
Exactly.
in that role. Yeah. I love that. Excellent. Kind of, but, I think we're kind of already touched on it, and maybe you've already covered this. So if you have, let me know. But if you could go back to yourself and give your younger self one piece of advice, to start off your career, what would you tell yourself?
Yeah. Kind of covered before, but yeah, advocate for yourself. And I think probably one thing is humility is a really hard lesson to learn. Really valuable lesson. And it's, for me, is don't pout about it, is like learn the lesson, get the feedback, and understand that it's a really valuable lesson. And you learn sometimes that getting hurt a little bit is the best way to learn. And that really is unfortunate, but it's, I think sometimes the reality.
Yes, yeah. Failure breeds lessons, and success
Yes.
often. We see
Yes.
that all the time. So awesome. I love it. As you know, I own a janitorial company. If you're, I have to ask the question. If you're looking for a janitorial company, what kind of traits are you looking for, and how do you make that decision on who you go with?
It's kind of the similar approach that I have for a lot of the companies that we hire, a lot of the service groups. The product you produce is not necessarily unique. It's the service around that. It's the customer service with the tenants, but it's also the communication with our team. I often lead startup meetings on projects and new contracts, and once a contract signed, and this kind of kickoff meeting is, it is not if, it is when you will screw up. You are going to screw up, and that is okay. What we will judge you on and what you will be measured on is what you do after the screw up happens. Because if you try and hide it, it's not going to be great. It's fail fast and fail small, own it, and keep moving. If it's anticipate the need of your customer. So is understand, hey, I screwed this up. I'm really sorry. And we're going to move on. Doesn't mean there won't be consequences, but the consequences I feel are a lot smaller. And then that's a partnership. Because again, you, rather than just trying to hide something and try and make it better later. So I don't know if that answered your question, but
No, that's excellent. And actually, funny, I do say that to our clients too. Mistakes will sometimes happen. Like you said, there's not much. Janitorial is janitorial. We're often hiring from a similar hiring pool and that sort of thing. But what we're doing around it, how we respond to the issues, how we communicate, how we follow up and execute. Those are so no, yeah, you nailed it. Because our industry is difficult. So what does separate us? It's those sorts of things. So
yeah.
yeah, I love that answer. Thank you. All right, for some fun questions. If you could manage any famous property in the world, what would it be and why?
Early on in my career, I would probably say any arena that they play NHL hockey in. I love hockey. I am a youth hockey coach. I played hockey growing up. I love it. Um, Probably just because it's exciting and it's cool and it's novel and you get to be part of the action. If you ask me now, I would love to manage a group of bungalows over the ocean in Fiji. Uh, a little laid back, but also just high customer service because the people that are going to visit those are going to demand a lot, but high customer service, uh, lots of tenant contact, lots of interaction, but a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more laid back.
Amazing. Have you been to Fiji before?
I've never been to Fiji.
Never?
Well, it's
Okay.
only imagining at this point.
It looks, I've never been either, but in the pictures, it looks pretty beautiful, like almost heavenly. Yeah, awesome. I love it. And then finally, if you could recommend one book to your fellow property managers, what book would that be and why?
It's kind of a loaded question. Thanks to my superpower, which is ADHD. I don't love reading. But I do listen to a lot. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And then I often actually go back and read that book, which is kind of silly, but at least I know what's kind of coming. Probably have three. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. It helps really, it helps people who want to keep moving up sell their idea. It's a great leadership book, but it's leadership, but also the sales piece of understanding, like, how do you explain what you're doing, what you're trying to get. The second one is Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. She's a professional poker player, but she's actually a psychologist, or she graduated university as a psychologist, and is now a psychologist. But she was on a pro poker tour, and she was at one point in time, she was the highest earning female on the poker tour. But her work is around understanding when to make the decision and when not, because I think that's what cripples a lot of people in our industry is analysis paralysis and, hey, I need more data to make this decision. And I'll often ask, okay, what data would make you feel comfortable? And they say, I don't know, I just need more. And so this understanding of is, when is the right time to make that decision? And kind of along the same lines is Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, which is about essentially follow your gut. If you are an expert in an industry, follow your gut, because you can research the thing to death and you will likely end up at the same decision or the same recommendation that your gut said. So yeah. And honestly, all those authors have multiple other books that I have physically read the books. But yeah, those three are really great for me.
Amazing. So good. By the way, I don't think that you can discount audiobooks. I think that's considered reading books now. So,
on my commute, that's like,
yeah,
you got 40,
yeah,
I mean, depending on where you are, I got 40 minutes of dedicated time. And if I'm not talking to someone on my team,
yeah.
I am typically listening to a podcast or an audiobook.
Yeah, it's such efficient use of your time. I always say your brain's a muscle, and it's like, when you're driving and listening to an audiobook, you're just working it. You're exercising your brain. Yeah, very good.
Awesome.
Jesse, this was a great conversation. Like I said, so much meat and potatoes. This is a must listen for everybody. And thank you so much for joining me. I'm really grateful that we've met not that long ago, but we've gotten to know each other pretty closely because we've been on a few panels together. Yeah, very grateful for getting to know you, and I wish you much continued success.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you too. All right.